Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to In Your Face. On today's episode of In Your Face, I guess you could say I've got kind of a heartfelt In Your Face to do, and I was asked to do this in a roundabout way. But before we dive into it, if you're fairly new to this series, let me explain to you the series In Your Face, kind of metaphorically speaking, is where I kind of grab you by the collar of your shirt and kind of pull you in and tell you kind of how life really is. Now, those subjects can be, that subject of how I do that could be very broad. It could be dealing with subjects in the media that they just don't cover, or they purposely don't tell the truth on, or it might deal with life issues, okay? Now, that brings us to today's topic, if you will. I have an adopted daughter, Hailstorm, and I know she's going to be watching this. She's part of the graduating class of 2022. My goodness, 2022. And saying that, let me say to the last, this year's graduating class is making this video 2022. And the previous 2 years graduating classes, you guys had it tough. I thought I had it tough in high school, but the last 3 years for the graduating classes have had it really rough. And let me explain what I mean by that. We have been dealing with the pandemic. Now, granted, we're just coming out of that pandemic. We're just now getting to where we could say we're coming out on the other side. For those of you in the graduating class, take a look sometime, turn back the clock about 100 years, and there was a situation very similar, and I never thought I would see something like that in my lifetime. So, now that I've said that, being that, we're talking, we're just now coming out of a pandemic that was reminiscent of the Spanish flu from 1918. Here we are now, 100 years later, and you guys had it tough, all right? And a lot has changed in 100 years, but with the series In Your Face, some things haven't changed in 100 years. Now, you guys being the graduating class, and I'm going to tell you guys out of the gate, when I graduated high school, one of the first things that the speaker for the graduation ceremony actually said to us was the faculty has done the best job they possibly can to get you ready to take on the world. That was something that the speaker actually said when I was graduating high school all the way back in 1997. Well, that remains the same today. The faculty that was there in the school with you guys, for all of you in the graduating class of 2022, has done the best job they possibly can with what tools were available to them to get you ready to take on the world. But that doesn't mean your education is complete. Now, some of you will be going on to college. Some of you are going to be going on to trade school. Some of you are going to go directly to work. And some of you are going to be joining the armed forces. And the fact that, there's graduating classes all around the world, this applies to everyone worldwide. So, the first thing that I need to tell you that has not changed way back when I was graduating high school to now, we hear the term respect thrown around a lot, okay? Whether it's in the job place, daily life, in your own home, okay? You hear that word respect thrown around, and the truth of it is we pretty well know what it means. Definitions will vary from person to person, but we get it, okay? But how we obtain it is oftentimes misunderstood. So I'm going to pass on this little bit of pearl of wisdom that I've learned, that was passed on to me, and I applied it in my life, learned it well, and it's worked for me. So now it's you guys' turn. One of the first things that that I think it stands to reason, what is oftentimes referred to as mutual respect. Okay, I'm a human being, you're a human being. Granted, I'm talking to a camera, but you're a human being on the other side of that camera, I guess you could say. As a human being, and what you are as a human being, I respect that. I understand that you are who you are. We may not always agree on it, on certain things, but I respect who you are, just like I expect you to respect who I am. I'm a content creator. I've done multiple different things over the years. Primarily, I've been a certified nurse's aide, certified med tech with INSIL certification, cross-trained for occupational therapy, and I specialized in Alzheimer's and dementia. So now that I've said that, I mean, that in itself commands respect because that's part of who I am. However, if I was to show up at a job, yes, I've done these things, but if I was to show up at a job, I have to prove myself, earn my coworkers' respect. If I walk into a place automatically demanding it, I'm not going to get it. If anything, I'm going to be considered a jerk, an asshole, okay? And there's a lot of folks, even from my generation, Generation X, and a lot of millennials that I've run into, where they automatically think, well, if I don't get, if you don't give me respect, I don't have to give it. Well, sometimes you have to extend that olive branch first, okay? So there's the first little tidbit that, show respect and you'll be given respect. That's how that really actually works. And that goes within the job, your own home, your personal life, however you want to look at it. Everywhere you go, if you show respect, you command respect. That's how that works. And a lot of folks get that wrong. Even from my generation, they still get it wrong. Over 20 years later, we're still getting it wrong. Okay, sometimes. That's how that actually works. So if you want respect, you have to give respect, and when you give respect, you command respect. And that's how that works. Now, mutual human respect, that should go, period, okay? So we kind of covered that, all right? So now, the next thing I'm going to tell you is there's some of you that's going to be going into college. Fine, great, that's wonderful. Go into college, but I'm going to tell you the field has changed, the college scene has changed a lot. So what you may be going into college for right now may not be what you end up doing. And some of you in trade school, it'll be kind of the same thing. What you're going into trade school right now may not be what you end up doing later. Just understand that you may end up changing careers a couple of different times. Currently, right now, I am a career maintenance man for one of the local McDonald's franchise in the area. Now, that may not sound like really awesome, but bear in mind, I just said it's a career. I have basically built myself up within a fast food restaurant where it's now, I'm not just some guy working up at the kitchen or at the front counter. I actually have the career side of it, okay? Now that in itself should tell you that there's career opportunities anywhere. So, if you will, always look for the open door of opportunity, okay? Because you may start off in the career that you are, that you're looking to get into now, but it may not be the one that you end up with later on. Just understand that. Be flexible in your life, okay? Honestly, being flexible, being respectful, goes a long ways. Goes a long ways. And I think that's really exciting when people kind of grab onto that. And young people that grab onto those ideas pretty much out of the gate, I enjoy working with. They're really fantastic folks to work with. I'd work with those folks all day long. And I love young people when they're like that. And unfortunately, there I am now saying it, young people. I'm not exactly young anymore. Now, for those of you watching the video, I will tell you that as the making of this video, this is what, May? Middle of May? As the making of this video, in August 2022, I'll be 43 years old. Which, ironically enough, since, you know, we're talking about some serious stuff, I like throwing a little bit of humor every now and again with my videos because, you know, I don't want to get this too serious. But here I am rocking the 1980s mustache, and I've been teasing all day because, you know, I wasn't sure, you know, how I wanted to approach this, and then I realized as the camera's going, I'm rocking the 1980s. So teasingly, I know at work someone noticed it, and I said, yeah, you can call me Porn Stash. But anyhow, yeah, I just went there. So, another little tip I'll tell you, and we just touched on it, keep a sense of humor, okay? Life will get you down, but just remember, if you can laugh at yourself, you pretty well laugh at anything. You're not always going to be perfect, dead on. I actually remember this, you know, same franchise owners that I worked for. I remember one day, one of them was in, it's a husband and wife couple that's our franchise owners. And I was telling the husband, I said, you know, every time I end up around you, it's almost like I end up doing something stupid. And it's like, I oftentimes worry if you think I'm just a complete idiot. And he started laughing. He's like, no, he said, I don't know what it is. He said, it's just, maybe it's just luck. But, you know, that's the thing. You know, if you can laugh at yourself, make jokes at your own expense, you're in the right ballpark, okay? And I make jokes at my own expense all the time. And honestly, when people are laughing, they feel comfortable around you, you know, you're laughing at your own mistakes. That's how you develop good, positive co-worker relationships, is being able to, you know, to laugh at your own mistakes, okay? And encourage your co-workers to do the same, you know. Something to be said about keeping it light at the, you know, at the workplace. So that's going to be something that I recommend for all of you. And when you're, you know, those of you going to college, I recommend the same. I recommend the same. If, you know, when you goof up, things like that, whatever, you know, laugh at yourself. All right? So we kind of covered respect, keeping a sense of humor. We've covered, my goodness, being flexible in your in just life in general. Let me talk to you about a subject that almost deserves its own video for you guys, but in all honesty, I think it should go without saying that there are going to be some of you that are going to fall into a certain trap that I fell into back in my 20s. The trap of drugs and alcohol. I am a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous with over 16 years of continuous sobriety. Now that I've said that, some of you may fall into that trap. I know from personal experience that when you start falling into that trap, you think you can control it. And you may for some time. My one prayer from this video is that if you do fall into that trap, that you'll be able to find a way out. Whether it's through one of the 12-step programs that are out there, one of the anonymous programs, maybe you might get lucky, okay? And be one of the lucky ones that get sober through one of those 12-step programs. Maybe you might find religion, okay? Maybe you might fall in love. Whatever the case may be, if it happens to you, just know that there is help out there, and know that there is a way out. I can't tell you, you know, stay away from drugs and alcohol, because no one poured the stuff down my throat. No one made me take it. I did it to me. Granted, it's a disease, but in the end, I always knew that there was a way out. At that point, I stayed in because I wanted to stay in. So, now that you understand that, you also understand that, you know, for you guys, now that you know that, you might as well just say, I just screwed up your drinking and drugging career, if you will. Hopefully that saves a lot of you out there a lot of heartache and pain. And the last thing I think I really need to go over, some of you are going to one day start families, okay? Times have changed an awful lot since I first became a parent. Now, I guess you could say I'm at the age where any one of my children, including my adopted children, can make me a grandpa, okay? My goodness, I never thought I would live old enough to say that, but here we are, okay? At any time, I could end up becoming a grandpa. And I know for some of you out there, you know, family life has been hard. And a lot of times they say that you fall into the same trap that was set by your parents. You know, some of you come from dysfunctional families. Hey, my family knows how to put the fun in dysfunctional, okay? I get it. But it doesn't have to stay that way. The cycle can end with you. I will tell you that I love all of my children. I think about them all the time, even when they're not here with me, which they're not. And that's a subject for another time that we'll definitely have to dive into this particular series. It's one definitely worth diving into. But the cycle doesn't have to continue with you. It can stop with you. It might take a little bit of help from the professional community. There's no shame in that these days. When I was a whole lot younger, there was. You know, when I was a young man, there was shame in it still. Even though we were still really learning an awful lot about mental health at that time. There's no shame in it today. Thank God for that. Thank God for that there is no shame in having, you know, in needing mental health. Okay? There's no shame in it. Okay? There's none whatsoever. The cycle can stop with you. For those of you who live with dysfunctional families and not sure if you yourself can raise a healthy family, there is help available, and generally speaking, most of the professional community really does give freely of themselves. They really do want to help. So don't be afraid to go to those folks. You know, long before you're staring down the gun of becoming a parent yourself. And really quick, while we're kind of also on this subject, for those of you who are die-hard fans of the Prince Magnum channel, you're also familiar with a character that I play named Cinnamon, and is kind of like a hero to some in the LGBTQIA+ community. Not everybody's going to get it. Okay? Take your, you know, and not everybody's going to get it. And unfortunately, a lot of you are going to be going out into the world kind of, I guess you could say, you know, mentally banged up because a lot of people don't get it. We're still learning a lot about you guys. And I myself, I will tell you that I don't fully understand the community, but I don't have to understand it. Okay? I just have to respect who you are. Back to that thing. Okay? I just have to respect who you are. I'm not always going to get you guys' pronouns right. Coach me a little bit. I'm flexible. And when you guys are struggling, I don't look down my nose because you're struggling with finding yourself. Being retired for the professional community, it's my job to point you in the right direction to the professionals who might be able to help you. Even if you're working with me. And once you get settled in, we might have a laugh or two about some of the things that you discover. See how all that ties in together? Kids, I can't tell you enough how proud of each and every one of you, even if I've never seen you, seen your face. Maybe I know you from just the other side. I'm talking to a camera, but you're on the other side, I guess you could say, of that camera. I've never met you, don't even know what you look like, but I'm already proud of you because you're part of my kids' generation. And I may not know you, but I feel like you're already one of my kids. So as you go out into the world, I'm already proud of you. It's time for you to add on to it. So go out there to be the best you can possibly be. That brings us to a good stopping point. Normally I throw some plugs in for Teespring and Patreon, which I guess kind of did, but I'm going to skip all of that. If you guys are interested, check it out. It's on the About section of my channel. We'll leave it there. But above everything, I'll say this to you guys, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. More now than I guess you could say than any other video possibly prior to this, possibly. And it goes a little something like this. Get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourselves. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet, do something special for them today. And as always, for every last one of you out there, no one out there has told you that they love you today. Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you. Aircraft remover.